What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris, and today it is a cosplay breakdown and showing you guys the rest of the reveal footage for my hybrid Batsuit. It is finally done and dusted. For now. Now, for those who are regulars on the channel, you know what a cosplay breakdown video is all about. I'm going to go over all the components of the suit and show you guys some reveal footage and me wearing the cosplay at the end of this video. Now, the footage at the end of this video was shot by the incredible Daniela and Sarah of Lux Media, who also helmed that little short that we put up a couple of days ago, and I honestly cannot thank you guys enough for the overwhelming response. Again, we went into this thing with the littlest narrative ever because obviously we want to do some photos and videos for the reveal of this cosplay, much like what we did with Samurai Spawn, but we figured let's have a bit of a storyline, and it turned out a lot better than we expected. So we went to work doing the sound design and whatnot. It was a big back and forth with me sending stuff to Daniela and Sarah with sound design and them coming back, and then finally I went over to their place and we finalized everything. It's crazy how much sound can improve footage. Not to say that there was anything wrong with their footage, but just by telling a story, layers upon layers, even clothes rustling. I remember I was even in my study there trying to get the sound effects of sitting down on a couch and how shirt fabric reacts to couch fabric. It's crazy, but we are so happy with it. Even though it's 3 odd minutes long, it's definitely something we would like to explore in terms of a full-length fan film at, say, like the 20-minute mark. So that is something we're going to be talking about at the beginning of 2023. I'm glad we finally got the shoot done because the heat has finally set in here in Sydney. So we had a pretty good day for the shoot. Again, everything was done in a day, and then the post-production took about 6 days. But yeah, there's no way in hell I could have shot in this now with the weather. It's just crazy. The suit would be drenched and it would dissolve the glue. So as always with what I'm going to do, go over all the components of the suit and also the artist that helped put this suit together. It sometimes takes a village to do these costumes, and I couldn't have done it without the incredibly talented artisans that helped out with this one. So with that being said, let's get to it. First and foremost, we got to talk about this beautiful cowl. So a lot of the comments that I got with the feedback in terms of the little short that Daniela, Sarah, and myself did, it was always the cowl. The cowl looks incredible. This comes courtesy of Hernandez Effects, made by the brilliantly talented Keith Hernandez. It's a hybrid cowl. As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. Now, this is a 2-piece cowl. It separates at the neck, as you will see in the footage and as you saw in that short. It's the first time ever since cosplaying as Batman that I've truly felt like this cowl fits my face. And that is not to take away from the awesome work that all the other artisans have done. It's one of those things where when you buy a Batman cowl, it's usually a generic size. So sometimes it's gonna fit absolutely awesome. It may be too tight, it may be too loose. You've gotta find that happy medium. And sometimes it takes a few cowls to find that perfect one. In this case, I finally feel like I found that perfect cowl. I love the way it hugs my cheeks and stuff like that because sometimes I get puffy cheeks on a tight cowl. I'm very conscious of my jawline, and I felt in Chris Robinson's GC5 Effects cowl, even though it's fucking glorious, it's just not suited for my head. Again, not to take away from anyone's work. We all have different head shapes and sizes, and it just takes a few cowls to find that perfect one. And in this case, I feel like I did. Now, the cape itself is actually made by Chris as well. This is the OG cape that I used at the beginning of the year for my Mark I Pattinson. Is permanently glued down to the neck seal. If you guys want to see some of the construction process of this and practically finishing the suit off, I do have my live stream video that I did a week ago that is up on the channel. But I just felt if you're going to get that nice flush look, gonna have to be glued down to the neck seal. So I do plan to get another cowl from Keith at some point that won't require gluing down of a cape. You can use Velcro, but the more you use Velcro, the more puffy it's gonna be. And I just had to go with the white lenses because I just love Batman with the white lenses. Visibility is pretty good. It's just a flexible mesh from Spotlight glued in there. There is one certain area where if the cowl kind of angles itself differently on your head, it presses into your eyeball. And by the end of the shoot, I just had this bloodshot left eye. It was great. I looked half high. Okay, next up we have this beautiful base flight suit by Bruce over at Napier's Incorporated. So when I did the Mark I Pattinson, I got my beautiful raw kit from Chris Robinson. There wasn't that much reference material out. The film hadn't even come out when I did that cosplay, and I did it in a quick 4-day turnaround. And we just assumed that all this here was urethane, even though the actual screen used chest plate is urethane, but it has the texture of like a cordura or a canvas. We just assumed even here was all urethane. Turns out it actually is like a heavy duty canvas fabric or a cordura, some sort of tactical military type canvas, but it is based on an actual pre-existing flight suit. So it is a two-piecer, it zips up at the back as you'll see in some turnarounds here and some extra footage, but it's just absolutely beautiful. It breathes well, it has the piping on the side here with all this beautiful layering of different materials and fabrics. It just all comes together beautifully. Bruce and his crew have done an amazing job on this. Again, it's very comfy. I do actually wear suspenders with these pants. So you put the pants on first, put suspenders on just to make sure they're gonna stay up the whole time and you don't end up with your pants around your ankles. That sounds so bad. Now, when it came to the chest emblem, the base chest emblem I bought as a raw kit from Mr. Alan Fay, who goes by dark_night_begins on Instagram. Go check him out. He does some incredible Batman cosplays. The guy is Irish and he's Batman, which I think is two of the most beautiful things put together. So when I did get the raw chest emblem, everything was unpainted. Even the knives were unpainted and they are magnetized, which is really cool. Now, Bruce was kind enough to send some extra fabric, the exact same fabric that he used for the flight suit. So I got to work fabric wrapping the chest emblem. I was umming and ahhing about it. Do I fabric wrap it and try and paint it as close as I can to the weathering and the base paintwork of the flight suit? But I said, screw it. Let's go ahead and try and fabric wrap this. And as you see in this footage, this was the process. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's 8, yeah, different panels. Some people have fabric wrapped their chest emblems in one go on either side, like 1, 2. I don't know how the hell they do it. There were even with all these separate panels, there are a lot of air bubbles that you kind of got to scrape away with a credit card or something like that. But overall, really happy with how it turned out. Now I just used a 3M contact adhesive, spray both surfaces, put it down. And then when it came to weathering, as you guys can see in that live stream from a week or so ago, I do use an off yellow oil color and stuff like that. In terms of the strapping here, it's just all a facade and they just Velcro in up here like so. When I first initially went with this design and this chest emblem, I was going to have these straps elastic and permanently fix the chest down here, and all you do is pull the chest forward with the elastic permanently attached there, put the cape on, and the chest would essentially snap back. The hard part is trying to find a way to permanently anchor this to the suit in a nice, natural way. So when I say there's a lot of Velcro on this suit, trust me, there is a lot of Velcro. Velcro is your friend when it comes to a suit like this, Geeks and Geekettes, and I found when I was wearing the suit, the more I moved, the more you could hear the Velcro. So I'm gonna show you what's going on under this chest emblem. So like I said, this strap here and this strap here is a facade. They're not actually functional. They just Velcro to corresponding Velcros up here. And then we have a Velcro here. So there we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Velcros here. And there's still some nice flex to the chest emblem. But as we see what's going on here, the cape is permanently attached to the neck seal, which does Velcro down to the suit here. So the neck seal does actually Velcro down to the flight suit. So there is a bit of finessing when you do first put the neck seal on, because it kind of buckles up and catches on the Velcro. So Daniela or Sarah would have to go up with their hand and kind of pull the neck seal down just to make sure you get that nice symmetry. But yeah, we've got all these Velcros here that were glued down. They are self-adhering Velcro, but I did use some cheap and nasty super glue backed up with some Sikaflex car sealer just to make sure it really seals in and no corners will get toughed up. Now, when it comes to the shoulder and bicep armor and the gauntlets, as well as the cape, it is still Chris Robinson's beautiful work from the Mark I Batsuit from the beginning of the year. I just wanted to reuse these because I think they are beautiful castings. Again, I got it as a raw kit, and as you can see, if you go back to that original video of me building this Batsuit in the 4-day turnaround, I did paint these, weather these, etc., and I just wanted to utilize them. I just still think they definitely hold up. Even though Chris has updated his armor, I still love these. I still love his gauntlets, and they slide on perfectly, and they really do accommodate the flight suit as well, because there is quite a bit of bulk there. This is a very thick fabric, but these gauntlets definitely accommodate it. It's not too tight. You don't feel like any circulation's being cut off. the exact same as last time. So nothing has changed with these. I've done nothing to these except add some extra Velcro that attaches to the base flight suit. So in terms of the belt, this is why I took some creative liberty. I love Batflex belt. I think it's a wonderful design. I love the gold, I love the cylinders, I love the pouches, and I thought, screw it. Let's give this a crack on the Pattinson suit. And if we're going for hybrid, it's a mix mash of, Pattinson, Affleck, and a hybrid design and the comic style of Batman. And I really like how this works. Don't get me wrong, I love Pattinson's belt. I'm just not a fan of how asymmetrical it is with all the gadgets and knickknacks and stuff like that. And I get it, he's like kind of kit bashed his belt together. It's a, the base strap is like a police belt with police pouches, and he's added his own little bits there with the canisters and the sticky bomb pellets and stuff like that. But this, I love the symmetry of it. So these files actually came from Art Debbing. I've actually updated my belts now, which are now available on Etsy. So I got to work just prepping the prints. I got 1, 2, 3 pieces printed at FactFox in China, resin printed so they're nice and clean. Pick up all that beautiful detail, and just took block molds, silicone block molds, and these are cast in F190 urethane from Barnes Products. So it's a much more rigid urethane, so it's a bit more heavy duty. I would like to have a crack of casting these in, say, a FlexiCast 45 where they're really going to flex. So it helps if you're crouching down in the suit, especially with the cylinders. The cylinders will really flex. But for the most part, I love it. The base strap is actually like a black vinyl, which you'd like lay down on your floor, 2-ply, so I've glued them together just so it's a bit more heavy duty, and just a Velcro closure at the back. Now there is a Velcro on the flight suit here and a Velcro on either side that marries up with Velcros on the belt strap. But there's something about a belt that tapers up, so I do want to explore that at one point, possibly a new 52 style belt. But again, you don't want it to taper up too much, because keep in mind the base flight suit here does cut off around here. You don't want the end of the top of the suit being exposed down here. Now when it comes to the boots, Pattinson had the Austrian Kaz boots. These are vintage. They still actually make them to this day, but I managed to track down some vintage ones. Now these boot spats were made by John Ninko. So these are the ones that I wore on the original Mark I Pattinson suit. But I was utilizing John's boots before I found these, because we were under the assumption that a different boot was used. It was actually the boot that Pattinson's stunt rider used. I think it's just his preferred choice. But what Pattinson actually wore was the Austrian Kaz boots. So they are still readily available. Sometimes you got to be quick, get in on them before they sell out. They're actually pretty good on the buck in terms of what they use in the film, being the same make and model and stuff like that. So this is the base boot that was used. There we go, that's how it looks. But I opted to use the former Adventure boot. This is just an all-round good boot for a lot of cosplayers, whether it's like Marvel based, DC based, and they're comfortable. They are a motocross boot, but they look incredible. I love the design of them. I've used the brown ones for the Nomad cap all those years ago. You can crouch, you can run in them. They're incredible. They are a bit pricey, but you are paying for that flexibility. So it's definitely something that I can utilize for other cosplays. And there we have it, guys. The hybrid Batsuit is done and dusted for this year anyway. Now, in terms of things that I would like to explore in the very near future, possibly some different style gauntlets and a different style belt. I'm kind of a sucker for the new 52 belt. I always just love gold when it comes to Batman. Gold, or like a dirty khaki canvas, something like that. I do love the old school pouches. So there's another option I can explore, but I really do love the new 52 belt and how it is angled up and stuff like that. Gauntlets, no idea yet. Maybe just mix and match. You can always go back to the Pattinson ones, but for the time being, I'm really happy with how this has turned out, and I finally feel like Batman. Not to say that I did in the past, but I just felt like I was dressing up as Batman. But after this incredible shoot with Daniello and Sarah, who I can't thank enough, they finally made me feel like Batman. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of reveal footage. Wherever you are in the world, please have yourselves an absolute cracker of a day. I hope you will. Hope you're happy. Be merry, be silly. And until next time, geeks and geekettes, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.